Hello?
Yo,
What do you have for us today?
your background.
Yeah, what about it?
Yeah, it's just dumb. How,
Okay.
how can you prove? How can you prove that?
Prove what?
What it says.
Well, with this, we use logic, right? Like paradoxes,
Hmm?
paradoxes. We use
What what
contradictions to disprove
what
certain
law?
versions of
What
God.
law of logic? What law of logic does God break?
Well, there's contradictions entailed by some versions of God. So, for example, God, if you're going to
Okay.
say God is all good, but then God brings about evil, that's a contradiction, I would think. Um,
Hell, maybe. Let me try rephrasing my question because it didn't go through the first time. What law of logic does God break?
all of them, because
All
that's
of
what
them.
a contradiction does, right? A contradiction shows that your logic falls apart. There's a contradiction in that logic.
Okay.
There's also the
Can you?
paradoxes,
Hold on. Hold on.
divine hiddenness
Can you
issues,
tell
so
me?
lack of
Can you tell
evidence.
me how? Can you tell me how Allah breaks the law of identity?
You can't be two things at one time. You can't be
Okay,
all good and then all evil. These are contradictory statements.
Allah doesn't identify as all good and all evil. What do you mean?
Okay, great.
Are you
So
so he
then what?
doesn't break so Allah doesn't break the law of
Okay, great.
identity?
So then you're saying God is evil, right?
Is that what I said? I just said he's not
Well,
evil. What do you
that's
mean?
what
He doesn't
follows, right?
identify as
What
he doesn't
explains
identify
evil? Look. What
dude,
explains evil in the world around us?
shut your mouth. He doesn't identify as all evil. Like what are you talking about?
Okay, great. So what exactly explains why there's evil in the world?
Free will.
Well, free will only applies to certain actions. I mean, how about all things that we don't choose with our free will, like volcanoes, tsunamis, earthquakes, disease, famine, all these things that
Yeah.
we don't control? Who chose that to happen?
That's how it happens. Like God did. I don't see it as evil though. A volcano is not evil.
You don't think a
Like
volcano that kills 1,000 people that was an evil thing?
no, I don't. I don't see it as if
So you,
God's the one
so
doing
you
it.
think
I wouldn't see
so
anything
you think
that
there's
God does
nothing
as
wrong?
evil.
So you think there's nothing wrong with a volcano killing 1,000 people? That's perfectly okay to you.
If God's the one causing it, no, I don't. Like, you understand what I'm saying? Or
Well, then, if God didn't cause it, who did? And who's responsible for it? Because didn't God create
I
the
just
universe?
told you. Hey, dude.
Did
Are
God
you
create
like?
volcanoes?
Oh, I know what this is. Okay, so I have to talk really slow to you. Okay, let me try to sit down. If the all good, right? Most merciful God is causing a volcano, then it's good. Okay? Okay? Do I gotta
So
like turn my
did God?
camera
So
on and
who
start
created
moving
the
my hand and
volcanoes,
showing you
sir?
what's up?
Sir, please. It wouldn't
Wait,
make
what?
sense. It wouldn't make sense for a good being to bring about a volcano that kills people, knowing that it would happen, right? So how do you explain
There could
why
be
all this evil
dude,
that is
stop
unnecessary
talking
occurred?
so much. There could be many factors that play into this.
Great. So why doesn't
Like
God
the
get
story.
rid of these volcanoes? Is God all powerful?
Stop, stop. Like with the story of Luke.
That's not how you converse with somebody, buddy. Try another person. Hey,
Hey, why does death gotta be evil?
what?
Why does death have to be evil?
I never said death itself is evil. What I'm saying is unnecessary death is evil.
Okay, what makes a, a volcanic eruption unnecessary?
Well, the fact that God could stop it, but doesn't,
Well, why would he stop it?
because it saves people's lives.
But then it also prevents from more land being created.
Who cares? God can make land any way he wants to. He doesn't have to have a volcano erupt and kill people to make land.
Okay, who knows what his reasons were, but Who
Okay.
knows what? Who knows what?
So
Okay, so let me ask you this: if a volcano erupting is evil, okay, and because it kills a bunch of people, why do you blame God?
because he's responsible for the volcano's production and creation.
Thank you for proving that you actually do believe in God. That statement proves it.
No, that was an internal critique.
No, actually, you just said that God is evil for letting people
Yeah,
die
I'm
because
putting
of.
the
Yeah, you just justified it entirely.
no.
You
It's
believe
called
in
putting
God.
myself in your shoes, right? It's called I put myself in your shoes. You might not know how logic works, but I'm
Okay.
putting myself in your shoes, looking at the world through your lens, trying to defeat your argument that way. And that's what I did. I don't actually believe in a God.
Okay. Then I guess you're not thankful for anything.
I
Or
don't
you're
have to
not
be
thankful
thank
for being alive.
I don't have to believe in God to be thankful.
Okay. Who do you thank for being alive?
No, I don't thank somebody. I am just grateful for it, whatever. I just
Okay.
feel gratitude. It isn't that gratitude doesn't have to be posed towards somebody.
Okay. So who do you credit for your ability to breathe?
No, nobody. I don't credit anybody. Again, I
Well,
credit the
somebody made it
universe, the laws
possible.
of nature,
Something made it possible.
the laws of nature.
Oh,
That's
so
not
the
a
laws of
somebody.
nature. So nature is this higher being that created you.
No, nothing was ever created, and nature is not a being. It's just nature is just what we describe, whatever the reality is. We don't know the true nature of it. But
Okay, then what? Then where's another planet that's just like Earth?
oh, there's billions of them in our galaxy. There's billions of Earth-like
Really?
planets in the galaxy.
Really, you can prove that.
Well, we can. Yes, we have tons of data, astronomical data that demonstrates that.
Oh,
There
what's
are
the
at
name of
least.
what's the name of a planet that has just as much life on it as
That's a different question. You're saying you said there's an
so
Earth-like planet.
no, you're saying we
Life.
know about them.
We don't
We
know
know
about
that
life, and but
do we
even
know that any of them have life on it?
we don't. But even if that, just because other planets don't have
Oh,
life, doesn't mean that there must be a God.
I'm asking for a specific. I asked a very specific question, and you gave a very specific answer. The very specific question was,
So
name another planet that's got that is as abundant in life as Earth.
So if we found a planet that had life on it, would that debunk God?
Not necessarily.
Then your
But
argument collapses because it doesn't
no,
demonstrate God
but the
exists.
fact but if you can't, we're unique. And if we're unique, there has to be a God.
Why? Just because we're unique doesn't. We're also unique in many things. I have a large genital. I have
Okay.
large genitals.
All right,
Does that mean
so
that God
so
exists
you
because
think
I
okay.
have large genitals?
All right. It is astronomically more likely that a higher being, that a being of higher intelligence created Earth than a bunch of random events.
Nobody said it was random. And
Okay,
number
then
two,
if then if it wasn't random, then it was based off of an intelligence, correct?
no, it was determined.
Determined by what?
The laws of nature.
The laws of nature.
Yeah.
Just suddenly okay. It just suddenly popped into existence and always existed.
No, that's what you believe. You believe that everything
No,
popped into existence.
that's not what I believe. That's just
Okay, great,
exactly
then-
what because
then-
you
okay.
you can't explain any of the any reason any way that that this happened.
We can. It's
We
called cosmology. It's called science. It's called physics, right? We can describe the universe's
Yeah.
workings that way.
And what have we actually determined as fact as what created our universe?
It doesn't.
Factual.
It has
The
no.
factual way that this. What's that?
Just because the universe may have begun doesn't mean God did it. There is a plethora of possible causes, none of which need to be God.
All right, whatever. Your arguments are just absolutely ignorant. We'll just say that.
Says the one who believes in talking donkeys and talking snakes and the man that rose from the dead like a zombie.
I never said any about that. I never even mentioned scripture. You just referenced
Are you
things
Christian?
that are in
Are you
scripture. I
Christian?
never
I
even
can tell,
mentioned it.
sir. It reeks from your voice. Are you Christian?
No, I'm not.
What are you?
I'm Jewish.
Okay, well, then you still believe in Genesis. You still believe in the creation story. You still believe in 6 days creation. You still believe in a plants before the sun.
Are you trying to tell me what my beliefs are? Because yeah, I believe in that that is an abstract of what actually happened. Yes.
Okay, well then you believe in something from nothing. You believe in 6 days. We all got here magically in
No.
6 days. It's nonsense.
No, we didn't. I believe in science that, you know, the science says that the human race has only existed for about 1 million years now. And the earth is hundreds of millions of years old.
Great.
Okay.
So then you're taking some parts of the Bible.
So yes, I understand the 6-day rule, okay, doesn't apply here, except 6 days lasted billions of years.
That seems like a cop out because you're trying to.
It doesn't seem like a cop out. It's because.
Okay, then if you're gonna
it's an understanding of the interpretation of it. Okay, and you actually are assuming that it's all perfectly literal, and it's not.
How do you determine what's to be taken literally and what's
okay? I'm not talking about religion. I'm not talking about my belief in God. Has nothing to do with my religion. It actually has to do with there's no way to deny God. I look around. I know all these things just had to have been created at some point by some higher being who actually had enough intelligence to create all these things that tie together, that make it all possible for all this life to exist, that has not been done anywhere else that we know of in our known universe. And it's like you're just like totally ignorant of the of any of that possibility.
Or maybe it's just physics.
How is it just physics? How does physics explain why trees happen to exist on a planet that has a species that requires oxygen?
Evolution.
Evolution.
Yeah.
So evolution created trees for humans.
No, trees were way here.
How is evolution? Evolution is what changed humans.
Sir, I don't think you understand
evolution. Didn't change the trees. Evolution didn't create the.
Relax. Take a deep breath. Relax. It's going to be okay. Now, when it comes to the universe, we can explain trees and life and everything else just fine without God. And I think you're looking around and you're going, wow, look at trees. Wow, look at stars. Look at people. And you're going, wow, it's so complex. There must be somebody doing this. I understand that perspective. But perhaps that's coming out of your ignorance. Because if you learn about the world around you, you recognize that the more we understand the mechanisms of reality, the less and less need you have for a God.
I don't have any need for a God.
Physics. And you never need a God to explain reality.
Right. Okay. I don't need a God to explain reality.
Great.
I just know that it's undeniable that, okay, how is it that so many species exist and there's like an entire food chain to it as well?
Natural selection.
And we just happen to be at the top of the food chain.
It's the survival of the fittest. The ones who were able to eat each other more, they survived.
So there was some big kind of contest that put humans at the top of the food chain?
It's called survival.
Survival of the fittest. I know exactly what that means. That is a Darwin. There's a theory created by Darwin. Okay, yes. It has nothing to do with why we are in the food chain above lions and tigers and bears.
Well, we're not above the food chain in terms of lions and tigers.
We
They
are
can
we
definitely
are in
harm
the
us.
food chain above them. Yes, we are.
Well, not necessarily, because if you were in a cage with one, you would not survive. I can guarantee you that. They would eat you alive.
Okay,
The only
but it's
reason
still
the reason why humans are able to survive is because we have tools and we have,
right.
communication skills
And
and language. That's what enabled us to survive better. But again,
yeah,
there's only certain thresholds in which we can. There's only certain parameters in which we can survive better.
yeah, and I understand the
And
mechanisms
this is
behind it,
exactly
but
what.
it still doesn't answer my question. It still doesn't answer any of it.
What doesn't it answer? There's a.
It doesn't answer why there's trees.
When you're
I
asking
mean, we
why,
can have all these. It doesn't answer why there's water, why there's an abundance of food.
Okay, when you say why is there water, that's a different question than how is there water. The why I can ask for God. Why is there God? Right? But when it comes to
No,
how, when
it
it
has
comes to
nothing to do with
how
anything.
did water get to the earth? Right? That comes from
Okay.
star formation and planetary disk formation and meteorites and chondrites. They have water in them. They form in nature. When it comes to the trees, this is a biological process.
Yeah. Okay.
Trees are
Yeah.
living
And why is it so in so much abundance here on Earth, where we need water, where we have so much abundance for food?
It's not that we were placed here.
Okay. Now tell me if you
hold on, you are going too fast. Hold on. You ask questions and I'm not able to answer them. From your perspective, it seems like we were put here.
Okay.
And their water and trees are put here for us to consume. That's not how it worked. In fact, it was the opposite. Water and trees precede us.
Where else can we survive?
Happen to be
Where
here
else can we survive?
Where
else? Where else can we survive? Where else can we survive?
Yeah, you're right. We can only survive in certain areas. That's exactly what we'd expect.
Where else can we survive besides Earth?
We don't. There is no other planet. This is exactly
why
what.
Not? Why not?
Oh, hold on, sir. This is exactly what we would expect if there was just evolution happening. Because if God existed, why couldn't He could make us live anywhere? God could make us live on Pluto, right? God could make us live without water. But the fact that we need water is evidence of evolution. That's how we survive to be. Whereas if God existed, we could live anywhere.
Why would we be able to live anywhere?
Because God could make that happen. Couldn't God make us live anywhere?
But should He?
Well, the problem is
should
that you're assuming.
Should He? Just because. Okay, now let me tell you.
Hold on. Let me answer. You're not letting me answer. The reason why is because you're trying to answer. You're trying to answer the question by saying, "Look,
said you have this expectation."
All right, you're done. You're the one with the expectation that we are special and unique, and that nowhere else in the universe can make humans survive. I understand that. But the problem is you're trying to use our uniqueness as evidence for God, when I can actually do the opposite. I can show you that because we're unique, that's evidence of evolution, right? And that's the problem here. The fact that we can't live any other planet is evidence that we survived under these certain parameters. The fact that we go to space and we suffocate is evidence that we had to survive and develop under these circumstances. Because if God exists, He can make us live anywhere, under any conditions, any parameters, any circumstances He wanted to. So the evidence of God would be if humans were the center of the universe and we could live anywhere we wanted to in the universe. But that's not what we see. We see a universe where we can barely survive. And we survive just in the amounts that we would expect under a purely naturalistic evolutionary world.
Hello?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, thanks. How you doing?
Great. What do you got?
Well, I'm going to sound a little crazy to you, I'm sure. And honestly, I sound a little crazy to the average Christian, but that's not my problem. So I'm gonna take it that you've not met God, right?
No, I haven't met the big guy yet.
Obviously, obviously. Um, I just wanted to, put my 2 cents in and say, well, obviously he does exist, but that's only because I've had a lot of unexplainable experiences that have led me to that conclusion.
Great. So
It
give
was
us
not
one.
based
Great. So
in a
what's your
book.
best experience that shows God exists?
Oh my God, my best experience? It was okay, here's the story. I I was trying to find God, right? Like I went through Sunday school when I was a little kid. I did
Ma'am,
the
I don't
things.
want your life story. I want the experience you had with God.
Well, listen, it's just you got. I need the lead up, right? Because I was taught those things, right? But I always questioned everything, and so I was searching for like all of the things. I was dabbling a little in astrology, in candle rituals, in whatever religious beliefs that you could find. I was searching, and so I sat one night and I started meditating. Based on this book that I was reading, right? I was purposely trying to meditate. And in the process, I had an out of body experience where, exactly, where it was like, do you watch Star Trek? Have you ever
Oh,
seen
okay, ma'am. Look,
the,
I understand where you're coming from. Look, I understand that there are experiences you have in the world that
uh-huh,
seem to defy your, ability to explain them. I understand
right.
that. The problem is that we actually can explain out of body experiences. They're just hallucinations. And we actually know that the brain actually can induce
Listen,
these in people. People's brains
I
can
also
just
have a
get out of
history of
people.
mental health issues, and I'm sure you'd want to use that against me, but all of my
That's
therapists have
another
assured
reason.
me that I am completely
That's
sane.
another reason. And look, I understand where you're coming from.
See,
I understand where you're coming from.
right.
But unfortunately, you're trying to use this as a justification for the existence of something that you really can't explain. And the first thing you said here was you had an unexplainable experience. And
Right.
the sheer fact that it was unexplainable does not grant you the right to say that it was God.
Oh, it
And
does.
that's the problem.
Because it wasn't just one experience, it was multiple experiences. And
That
honestly,
doesn't
I'd have to write an
that
entire
doesn't
book to
do
explain
anything
them all
for you.
to you. It's just not possible
That
in
doesn't
this
do
short
anything
period
for
of
you.
time.
That
My
doesn't do
purpose
anything
is
for you.
just to explain to you that not everybody just bases their beliefs on something that they read in a book or some.
I know, ma'am, but your experiences are not falsifiable. And from what you said, we could potentially demonstrate that those were just hallucinations. What was he in the factory or something? Bro's doing laundry in the laundry room. He's in the washing machine.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Yeah, so like what if God is real? Do,
What if I don't know what God means? When you say the word God, that's an ambiguous word. It means 1,000 different things to 1,000 different people. It's just a word.
like I was like I don't believe completely, but what if it's real? There's the possibility, right? We don't know.
What if what's real, right? Like you haven't
If
defined
God
what
is real, if it's really real, what if it's real?
what if what is real?
If God is real,
What's God?
like a spiritual, like if we have a spirit and there's like heaven and hell and stuff like that.
What's heaven? What's spirits? What is this?
What I'm asking is, if it's real, what's your like take on like reality
Look,
if
look,
it's
look,
real?
look, look, look. The problem is that you're making up words that I don't understand. Neither do you really understand them. You're just thinking of something and you're saying, that must be God. You're thinking of something in your mind. The problem is that these are poorly defined words that I don't understand and you don't really understand. There's no good definition of these things. There's no evidence or examples of these things existing. So I couldn't even assess if there was or not a God. I just couldn't assess that because it's ill-defined.
Like, but do you think there's zero chance of God existing?
I don't know the chance of God existing because I don't know what it is.
Like what religion says and what humanity says it is, like, you know, a spiritual
So,
thing.
okay, from what the people have said about gods, I think they're all fake. There are sun gods, the moon gods, dirt gods, earth gods, wind gods, fire gods,
Yes,
pregnancy gods,
science,
gods.
we have,
Gods seem to be something that a human would produce out of their own imagination. They're personifying things. God
yes,
seems to
yes.
be a personification of reality. So I would say from those definitions, they're all fake. There's no evidence for any one of them.
Yeah, I agree that like the sun god, it's all fake, and the moon gods,
Okay,
and right.
great. So then, what makes you think your God is any different?
I don't believe like I'm not like religious, but I live.
Okay, great. So then, I won't help you, right? All we know is things happen. There's no way we can assess if God, whatever that word means, is real. It's just a word, right? It really just is a word.
Hello?
Oh, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Great.
So, can you give me your take on why you think God is imaginary?
There's no evidence.
There's no evidence that God exists. So you just think that we all came from monkeys about 1 million years ago, and that's it, and we just evolved.
No,
and now
that's the wrong way to see evolution. Evolution does not say we come from monkeys. It says that we share
Right,
common
what-
ancestry.
I'll let you
We
explain.
are
What's your take
apes.
on evolution?
What?
What's your take on evolution, and how are we here? How am I here right now?
Evolution's a fact. It describes reality perfectly well. We can observe evolution in our DNA, in our fossil records, and even lab experiments demonstrate evolution. We are apes. That's what we are. We're just another ape, just like chimps, bonobos, gorillas. We're just a bit different, and
So
that's what the evidence shows.
All right. So why aren't the apes that we've got now? Why aren't they evoluting? Why can't we make them evolve?
Every animal is evolving. It just takes a long time. It takes generational change to occur. It doesn't happen in one day. This isn't Pokemon.
If we're all apes, then why aren't the apes that we've got now? Why aren't they evolving? Why aren't they evolving into humans?
Again, so you have this Pokemon idea of evolution where you have one day you're a Charmander, the next day you're a Charizard. That's not evolution. Evolution refers to genetic changes over generations.
I just want to ask you. So you genuinely think that we've came onto this earth from apes, and like we didn't get put on this earth for a reason? There's no afterlife, nothing. Do you believe in there's an afterlife?
There's no evidence of an afterlife. I don't even know what that means.
I believe there's no heaven, there's
all
no
the
hell.
all the evidence demonstrates that we are apes and that we have evolved. We have fossils of this. We have fossil records, DNA records of this.
What? I don't understand how you wake up every day. How old are you?
29.
You're 29, and you sit on TikTok lives and you debate about evolution and God being imaginary. This is unbelievable.
Yeah,
because
leaving religion was one of the greatest things that ever happened to me because it opened my mind to new ideas and made me a better person. And perhaps it can make other people better people. Because when you leave religion, you actually start thinking more. And this is a foundational belief for people. So if I can shake that, the rest of it can fall down and crumble easily, right?
Okay,
if you
so
have
what is the
toxic
purpose of life?
ideologies that can be changed, right? If you're a toxic person, if you believe in God and you're using God to be anti-LGBT or be anti-pro-choice, right? Imagine having an impact on the world around you and being able to solve it by simply debating people and talking with them. This is how we change.
I would disagree with that, to be honest. Religion is the backbone of life. It's the backbone of why we're here.
Which one?
Any religion, whatever people believe in at this point, you know, I'm not going to discriminate.
Christianity. Would you say Christianity is a backbone?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. In Exodus and Leviticus, the Bible says that we can enslave people. You think that's the backbone of our society now?
I'm not gonna state. I'm not going to debate between religions. I'm just saying, look.
Oh, okay.
The backbone of life is religion. You know, we're put on this earth, and
Absolutely
our mission
not.
is to make it to heaven. So, what's the purpose of life then, if we're not here from God to make it to heaven? What is the purpose of life? Why are we here?
To live, learn, and love. What's the purpose of God existing?
And that's it. Then we just die, and nothing happens. We just see black space forever.
No, it's not, you don't even see dark space. You don't exist anymore, and that might be sad to you. I understand that might be sad to you, but it's a reality that we have to face, and that gives us more importance for our lives now because that's all we got, right?
Okay, I understand what you're saying. I respect your opinions, but I just want to clarify. So you're saying that you believe that we're just our mothers gave birth to us. We're on this earth just to grow, to learn, and to love, and then that's it. We just fall into no existence after that.
Yeah, and that's precious. That means our lives are precious because it's such a small, fragile existence we are. And we have to cherish every moment because that's all we get.
Have you ever been religious before?
Yeah.
Really? What religion do you follow?
I followed Christianity.
Okay, so what was the main thing that took you away from Christianity? What was it?
The lack of evidence. I read the Bible. I realized it's all ridiculous.
So you read the Bible. When was this? Was you born a Christian? Was you brought up a Christian? Or did you become Christian yourself? And when did you step away from Christianity?
About 10 years ago.
What, 10 years ago you became, or you stepped away?
I stepped away.
Okay, so what, did you grow up as a Christian, or was that your own choice?
I grew up as a Christian, yeah.
So you're brought up by a Christian family, I'm guessing, and you decided 10 years ago that Christianity was a lie and that...
Yeah, well, no, there's just no reason to believe in it, and the Bible makes falsifiable claims, and for the ones that are falsifiable, they're wrong. There was no Adam and Eve. There was no Noah's Ark. There was no talking donkey or talking snake. None of that happened.
So you believe more that we came from apes than the Bible? We
are apes, and that's a fact that we can demonstrate.
Let me okay, so you're saying that we evolved from apes. We are apes. You're saying you believe that we are apes more than you believe in the Bible?
Because the evidence demonstrates that we are apes.
No, what I just want to know, is that a yes or a no? You believe that we are apes?
Yes, you believe the evidence demonstrates that. We have ape fur, we have ape eyes, we have ape brains, we have ape fingers, we have ape feet, we have ape limbs, ape
what about the ground that you walk on? What about the earth you're living on? What about that? What about the roof over your head?
What about
all the fruit that grows from the trees and all that? What about that? We didn't do that.
Yeah, that's another biological process of evolution.
What about all the cows, all the pigs, all the animals? We didn't do that. So what's that? What's that?
Evolution, natural selection explains why there's all these different animals, right? It's speciation over billions of years.
All right. So who put those animals on Earth?
Nobody put them here, right? They evolved.
How were they created? From what? What do they create? What do they come from?
They don't come from anywhere. They were perhaps the building blocks of life. Perhaps
so out of nowhere in this universe, a green and blue ball just spawned, and then a bunch of animals just spawned on the Earth.
No, there's an entire cosmic evolution that precedes us, right? 14 billion years of cosmic evolution. Matter and energy was perhaps always there, and then over time, clumps of matter come towards together because of gravity, and angular momentum collapsed them into a disk. And this disk turned into a star system because stars form when you have lots of gas and pressure igniting nuclear fusion processes, which then produce elements and produce all these things, produce starlight. And that sunlight gave rise to Earth and other things. Earth was a rock that surrounded this planetary disk. and for water bombarded the planet from rocks in space as well. Water is produced in these interstellar clouds. So again, there's many processes as to why we are this way. Life is a chemical process. Life, it started from the chemicals on the earth. We are parts of the universe.
So you think that the ground, the gravity, the water, all of this is the reason why there's animals on the earth as well?
The same laws of physics that govern
Okay,
black
but listen,
holes and
I
stars are
understand.
the same laws of physics that govern our
Okay,
bodies.
but the laws of physics, yeah, they can move mountains, they can make cracks in the ground and stuff like that, but they can't produce a beating heart. They can't do that, can they?
Sure, they
They
can.
can't.
Over a
So you fully
billions
believe.
of look, sir. If you just listen, you can understand what I'm saying. The heart is a organ that developed for billions of years in our past from simpler organisms, right? Simpler cells, which then collected towards one another and became hearts. But there is a vast process that gave rise to the heart and the brain and all these, and your eyes and all these things. There's a very incremental, slow process. But look at how much time there was before us, and that's what you're missing here. You're missing how
So
much
I think
time there
you're
was
genuinely
for natural
terrible.
selection to take place.
You are so brainwashed. I'll be so honest. I'm just gonna have to agree to disagree with you. There's no, unless there's any persuading that what you're saying is absolute yap. But
It's called science. It's called physics and biology, right? And
okay,
chemistry. This is
and
all
who
described and
discovered
understood
these?
through science.
Who discovered these factors? Who discovered these matters and stuff? Scientists, yeah.
Scientists who can demonstrate it
Who
with
created the
in
scientists?
labs.
Who created the scientists?
Nobody created anybody. We didn't come from Adam and Eve. There can't be an Adam and Eve. There was
So
no
how are
first
we
person.
here? So how are we here?
We evolved, just like every other
And we
living being on the
evolved,
planet.
and we evolved from what? An ape, correct? Is what you're saying? So how did the first ape become an ape? How was the first ape produced?
So again, you have a very limited scope of what evolution means. There was no first ape or first human. There is a incremental process that I'm trying to explain to
Yeah,
you.
but
And
how do you know that? If there's no proof of that, how do you know that?
there is proof in the fossil record. We can see these fossils, and we can see the progression of these species over time. We can also look at our DNA and see changes.
Science can't go back 14 million years. You can't do that. It doesn't matter. It's a lie.
Yes, we
Science
can.
doesn't. Science
can-
cannot go back 14 million years.
Oh, yes, they can. We can date fossils. We can date rock
Promise.
layers in the geological strata with rock
Promise
dating.
you now, over 14 million years. I promise you now, it's not happening. You
Well,
can't get science from
we
14.
know that the Earth is at least 4.5 billion years because of something called zircon crystal dating. We can measure radiometric dating. We can measure the decay of certain isotopes in zircon crystals. This is geological evidence that the Earth is at least 4.5 billion years old.
So do you believe that? Do you believe that all religion is a lie? It's all a lie. Every single religion.
As far as I can see, there's no good evidence for any religion.
Have you ever read the Quran?
Yeah, and that's another reason why I'm not religious, because the Quran is full of fallacies and falsehoods. The Quran paints a picture of a flat Earth where the sun orbits the Earth. That's not true. The Quran says that stars can fall from the sky. That's not true. The Quran has a very poor understanding of the world around it. That's why it's very toxic, very misogynistic. It's written by goat herders in the 1600 years ago.
I don't think you've read the Quran, sir. I'll be so real with you. I think you're lying to me right now.
So then why does the Quran say that stars can fall from the sky?
I don't know if it has. I haven't read the Quran. I'm just saying
Okay, well, that's the problem that you have to understand. You have to understand there are problems with these religions.
Genuinely, I can't believe that I'm sat here now. You are 29 years old. Have you got a girlfriend or a wife or kids? Have you? How are you sat here
Why does that matter?
on a
Why
live
does that matter?
debating about evolution? My man, you have to find some more aspects to life than doing this. Unless you're forking in 10 grand a month from this, it's absolutely pointless.
It gives me pleasure, and it makes me happy to understand that I can help other people. People in the world around me need help. They are confused. They need more clarity in their lives. People don't understand what evolution is, right? People don't understand who we are as people.
Let's start from.
No, you're not going to come onto my live and think and tell me what to do. This is my life. There is a deep reason why I do these lives. It's because people don't understand how to think critically. Like this person in the guest box, they don't know how to think critically. Where we come from, I mean, these are good questions. But if you're not going to answer them honestly, you'll never answer them. If you're never going to approach these questions with an honest, open mind, you're never going to answer them. And that's why critical thinking is critical, pun intended, because these are big questions. And if we're after the big answers, we need to do the work. We have to do the big work to get there. So as easy as it is, and as appealing as it is to say that God did it, that's just not evidenced. There's no data that gets us there. All the data gets us towards a naturalistic world where there is no necessarily God, that we are products of natural selection, that we are animals. And as much as you shun that away, that's incredible to understand who we are as beings. It's incredible to understand that we are fragments of the universe, understanding itself, that we do share aspects with the cosmos around us, that we do share lineage with the cosmos. This is a deep, profound understanding of the world that utterly transforms our lives for the better. And that's why I do this. But thanks for coming up, guest, and I hope that you learned something today and hope that you continue learning. The wonderful solution.
So, Mike, you're telling me we're monkeys.
We are apes. Yes, we are Homo sapiens, great apes.
Okay, but I'm not a monkey, Mike.
I know, you are an ape. You are a great ape. You're Homo sapien.
Mike, do I look like a monkey to you?
Still at it, I see. Still angry at God. Trying to convince people to move away from God.
Why?
No, I see that's you're committed to this. If God's so imaginary, you have quite the fight on your hands for something that's imaginary.
Well, the reason I do this is because people's beliefs in this imaginary being can influence my life for the negative, right? For the bad, for the worse. People use their beliefs in God to say what I can do with my body. They say that LGBT don't exist, and look what happens. We live in a world where people like you exist and are very transphobic. Well, now people die, right? And it's because of your belief in this magic wizard. That's the problem.
The majority of
but
trans people that are dying are to
I'm not here to
themselves.
say that God is not. I'm not here to say that God doesn't exist. I'm here to say that we should be asking better questions.
The majority of trans people being killed are by themselves, not by anyone else.
Well, yeah, and it's because of people like you who sit here and say that they're not true, they're not honest people, that they don't exist. You ignore their existence, you call them names, you call them not real, you call them ill. And that's bullying to the greatest degree, and that's why people feel like crap. Because of the words you say and the things you do to their personhood that makes them feel depressed and sad, as it would to anybody. And that's why
the trans people. All right. Did trans people always exist?
Yes, being trans or gay is part of being human. It has been part of our brain chemistry forever. Sexuality comes from the brain.
So why would evolution have caused this?
Because trans and sexuality, this actually helps us socially in social settings.
How does trans help us?
Because, well, it's not that trans has evolved in us, it's that sexuality has evolved in us. Being trans means you just don't align with the genders that society gives us, right? It's not that transgender did.
So how does that benefit humanity?
It's sexuality that evolves, and being gay or being lesbian is something that evolved in us because of social reasons, emotional reasons. It helped us become bonded together in a society.
It's caused more division. It didn't cause bonding. So how does it
No,
help humanity?
no, what causes division is saying that they don't exist, and that they're bad people, and that
Who
they're
says
ill.
they
That's
don't
what causes
exist?
division.
That's not what we're saying.
Okay,
We're just saying no.
okay, do you think that trans people are valid?
I think that they're no more valid than a schizophrenic person thinking they're Superman.
Exactly. That's the point, right? You think that they're crazy when they're not. Imagine if I told you that you're a woman. Would you agree?
Of course not, because a woman's an adult human
There
female.
you go. So then there you go. That's how a trans person feels. They don't like what you say. You think they are. There's no law of nature that says that a woman must be an adult female. It doesn't exist, right? And we actually have studies on this where we can study transgender brains and recognize that their brain chemistry actually aligns with the genders that they think they are, because
Really, Mike?
sexuality
Really?
comes from the brain.
So
And
then
gender
why
comes from
don't we,
society.
going forward, if you can tell if somebody's trans from brain scans alone, then only people that do a brain scan can have trans treatment?
No, because when
Oh.
somebody's trans, they behave in those ways and they say those things and they feel that way genuinely, and that's why we help them. We aid them and give them health care.
You just said you can tell from a brain scan if somebody's trans.
We could.
So then why can't, to a definitive proof is they need to get a brain scan to definitively prove if they're trans?
No, we can do it by looking at their behaviors and their actions
So-
and their feelings and what they say.
Does a doctor put a cast on a person's arm because they feel their arm is broken, or do they perform a scan on the arm?
That's a different thing. Sexuality
How?
is from the brain. It's
You just said
behavioral.
you can objectively prove it with a brain scan, though.
Yes, just like we can prove that you're a man or
So
you're a woman
before
or
giving
you're a male
someone
or a female.
a sexually reassigned surgery or hormones, why don't you objectively prove it first?
Prove what?
That they're trans. You
We
just
don't
said you
have
can
to
do it
prove
with a
it.
brain
We
scan.
don't have to prove it. It's part of our look. Do you think that we have to make people prove that they're gay?
We're talking about trans, right? You just said you can.
This is analogous. Do you think that we have to prove for people to be gay to
Well, it
to
depends. Do you think you
call
can
them
tell
gay?
if somebody's? Do you think
No.
you can tell if somebody's gay from a brain scan?
Well, it's possible. There are
It's
gay
pro-
genes.
We-
There are
okay.
gay genes that our bodies can have. Now, do you think that we have to do that for gay people? No,
Gay
right?
people aren't trying to chop off their genitals, though.
Well, see, that's another thing you're pretending. You're pretending as if
not.
that they're ill for this. That's like
That's
the reason why is
life-altering
because
decisions.
imagine, look, RC. Imagine if you were born with a female brain. Would you feel comfortable? You would not feel comfortable in your body because you have a male body but a female brain. That's all transgender means. All it means is that you were born in the brain that is opposite of the gender you are.
So what's the difference between a male and a female brain?
Again, there's a very small difference, but there is a difference.
What is that difference?
Emotional differences and social differences, but yeah.
Social
You're right.
differences is not a biological brain difference.
No,
That's a
there's
social difference.
No, there's parts of the brain that are geared towards empathy and emotions, and these are things that we can understand. We can see differences, and they exist.
You can see. So what is this small difference that we can visibly see between the male and female brain?
The hypothalamus, the limbic system, parts of the limbic system, the prefrontal cortex, there's differences in the structure.
So you're telling me there's males with a biologically female brain?
Yep.
What study?
That's what transgender means. Sure.
No, transgender means you feel that your gender doesn't align with your sex.
No, it means that you don't think that the gender that you were assigned at birth aligns with your body. And that's the point.
I have not heard a single person claim transgender is that it's a male with a female brain. It's always gender doesn't align with sex. That's what transgender means.
Yeah, in other words, the sex of your brain doesn't align with the gender you were assigned at birth.
You're saying that.
This is what transgender means. All it means is that, look, if you were born, if I told you you're a woman, you would not like it, right? Just like if you were born with a female brain and I told you that you're a male or a man, you wouldn't like it. It's because sexuality comes from our brains. This is very simple to understand.
So for parents for parents with children, that the child feels that they're the other gender, do doctors perform a brain scan to see if they have a male or female brain?
No, we listen to the child. We listen
But
to
if
what they
we
say.
have the technology to
We
tell if they have a
we
male or female
listen, we
brain.
look at their behaviors. We listen to
Okay.
who they are.
Got it.
That's how we determine these things.
When we listen to an anorexic person, they're telling us that they're obese. We're listening to them. They're telling us biologically they feel that they're obese. So then do we act like they're obese though?
That's an objectively physical phenomenon, not analogous at all to transgender.
You said that there's a male and female brain. That's objectively a physical phenomena.
But you can't. There's nothing. There's no diagnosis to make. It's just a brain structure, right? There's no
Wait a second,
diagnosis when
Mike.
we look. Hold on. When we look at a male brain, there's no. It's hateful against our religion. What happened to the other live? It got blocked. But it was going. I wanted that to continue. I don't think I should be banned for that. I think I should get it back. The appeal should go through. All right, we got somebody in.
Hello?
Hi, how are you? How can I help you?
I want to speak about how you don't believe in God and how you believe God atheism is the right answer.
Sure.
Can you tell me why you believe atheism is the right answer?
There's no evidence to God, I say.
There's no evidence to God.
No. Do you have any?
I don't. But that's why it's called faith.
Okay, how old are you?
I am 23.
Okay. If I have faith that there's a green monkey up my butt, does that make it true?
No.
Great. So faith is unreliable because you can have faith in anything. It doesn't give it credence towards that thing being true.
It's faith. That's the whole point of religion.
I know, but that's the whole negative of it. That's the problem with it. It's faith, right? Faith is not a reliable source of truth or pathway to truth. It just astounds me how people say that.
Hey, good evening, Mike. How are you today?
Great. How are you?
Good. I just would like to know, brother, your stance, like, based on what? Like, what's your stance? What's the belief system of atheism? Like, you don't believe in the existence of God, based on what? I'm just wanting to know. Like, I'm not sure, to be honest with you. Like, what do you guys like? Muslims, they believe in the Quran. Christian, they believe in the Bible, right?
Sir, you have to stop the background noise. It's really annoying. It's really annoying. Oh man. Stop hiding in Q-Top's live. I'm not in this. I'm doing my own live. What do you mean? You had a steak for dinner? Your mom had my steak for dinner last night. My Q-Top debate was on
So I guess my thing is like some people say that religion is or sorry, like all America's morals come from the Bible, and like I know because you can't really use that as a good source because things like slavery that happened and just tons of historical events. I'm just wondering like what your thoughts are on that argument.
what historical events? There are no historical events in the Bible.
No. Okay, so based so all like all the morals. Some people claim that all America's morals, like what we decipher.
Okay, what's your point?
I'm just asking a question. Hello?
Yeah, what's your point, sir?
All right. You know what? You know what? You can just end it. You can end it. I'm sorry. This was a waste of time.
Okay. Have a good day.
What's up? Long time no see. How are you?
Great. What do you got?
Can I ask you a question?
Go ahead.
Is there a discipline for your actions?
Is there discipline for my actions? What actions? What do you mean?
So, if you make a wrong decision, is there discipline? Is there consequences for your actions?
Yeah, it affects other people around me. I can go to jail. I can all the above.
Where's morality sourced from? I would
The
love
brain.
to hear your point of view before I say my point of view.
The brain.
Well, there's a common error. If we say that morality comes from generation to generation, from family to family, we can't know right from wrong. It's like I give the lost
Yes,
sheep
we can.
analogy all the
Look,
time.
yes, we can. All
I
right
give
and
the
wrong
lost, let
means
me
no,
explain.
no. Please, this is really boring. We get right and wrong from simply going, yeah, I like that, or no, I don't like that, and then we take this on an additive basis. We extrapolate this to the rest of our surroundings. They don't like this. They don't like it. They like this. Hey, so let's make moral laws depending
Then where does the moral
on how we want to
construct
live with each
come
other.
from?
That's all morality means. You don't need God. I don't need absolute morality. I just need opinions.
Where does the construct come from?
Our
of
brains.
knowing right from wrong.
Our brains.
We see the common error that chases from generation to generation, from family to family, that morality comes from parents.
No,
you have
it
to have
doesn't
a
come
higher
from
being from
parents.
knowing right from
That's
wrong.
just one
Let me give
factor.
the analogy. Let me give the analogy of a lost sheep. The lost sheep is in the desert, crying out for help. The lost sheep is in the field, crying out for help. He needs guidance. He needs that shepherd to guide him. No one's going to guide him except for God, except for Jesus, and pull him back to the way and the right path that leads to righteousness. So we're seeing that lost sheep. Like we're wandering.
Okay,
he pulls us
congratulations.
back
Yeah,
into
great.
the right
So
path of life.
where's the evidence of God now?
Look at creation around you. Look how everything is so perfectly aligned.
Like cancer? Oh wow, look how great cancer was designed. Oh, look at starving kids. Perfect. Oh, look at disease.
If we
Look at
knew a
genetic
cure to
disorders.
everything,
Perfect.
we would figure out a cure to everything.
Oh,
The downfall of
yeah.
humankind.
We'll figure out a cure one day. Why didn't God just stop it in the first place? Why did he make us go through all this suffering?
Hear me out. Are we called to live a picture perfect life with butterflies and rainbows?
Isn't that what heaven is?
Basically, and praise and worship,
So
but
why didn't God just bring us
worship is
all
a
in heaven? Why aren't
heart
we having a
posture
party in
towards the
heaven?
Lord.
Why aren't we chilling in heaven right now?
Because of the downfall of humankind. It all started from the downfall of humankind.
And whose fault was that? God. He put the damn tree right in the
He knew
middle
what was
of Adam
going
and
to
Eve.
happen. Hear me out.
Why did God put the tree right next to Adam and Eve and let the snake deceive
Because
them?
he wanted to test them to see if they would fall for it.
Why? That's stupid. He knew they would fall for it. He's all-knowing.
But if they wouldn't have given in, we would have lived a perfect life.
Look, God.
The definition.
God could have just bring us to heaven from the get-go. All this earth stuff could have just been avoided. Just bring us right to heaven. Yay, we're all good. We're all chilling up in heaven with God. Why didn't he do that?
Because he wanted to see if we would pass the test. Look at Job.
So God can't
Everything
see
was
the
taken
future?
away from him. His friends questioned him.
What's the point of have seeing if we do these things? Like, what is God? The jigsaw guy from the Saw movies? He
Have you
wants to
heard of a
see.
gospel sandwich?
Oh, they're gonna die now. Haha. This is
Have
like
you heard
this
of
is
a
what a serial killer would do, right? Like watch their creation fail and get a rise from that. I
have you
think that
heard of the gospel sandwich? You have to have the
yeah,
good
we're not doing this.
and
I'm sorry. We're not doing a gospel sandwich. We're doing a bye-bye sandwich. Bye-bye. Hey, how are you? You have it all wrong.
Hey, how's it going?
Great.
Listen, first of all, I just want to apologize for last time we interacted. I may or may not have trolled a little bit, and I promise to be on my best behavior this time. Legitimately, just want to ask you a question about veganism.
Okay.
So here's the deal. I live in the Southwest U.S., right? And so just by definition, we are legitimately in a food desert, right? My nearest actual fresh, healthy, like real grocery store that has fresh fruits and vegetables and stuff is miles away from where I live. So I have close to me I've got convenience stores and fast food places, and it's really it's awful. It's just processed, like nutritionally empty stuff. How can I where I live currently get better access to a more sustainable a better vegan diet than what I have currently? How can I get access to this stuff?
Yeah, good question. A lot of food deserts out there. The first thing you should do is wherever you are going right now, try to find vegan options where you are. If you're going to Burger King or McDonald's, there's vegan options there. If there's, wherever you are, try to find vegan options. Chipotle is a good option. They have lots of bean dishes, rice dishes, things like that. But also perhaps look at local farming, local farmers, things like that. That's all I can say.
Yeah, funny enough, the local farmers market is real close to me. It's a mile down the road, but the problem is the way that it works for the community that I'm in. It's only open like 4 hours a day, like 1 day a week, right? So it's not always the most convenient option for me, especially with work schedules and things like that. I would love to go there and get more stuff there. It's just it's not always a convenient option. It's not a 24/7 thing that I can just go and get whatever I want.
Yeah, look, everybody has different circumstances, but there are ways, if you care enough, to try. Right? Try your best to go to the grocery store and get those vegan foods as much as you can. That's all veganism means. It's not about being perfect. It's about doing what you can, what's practicable for your situation. But I refuse to believe that you don't have grocery stores near you. I don't believe that. But
I mean, the closest one to me that's a legitimate, like, actual grocery store with fresh stuff, that's not a convenience store, that's not like a corner store or whatever, it's legitimately 2 to 3 miles away, which, by walking or public transit, that's like 45 minutes to an hour trip one way. It's not close. It's not convenient. It's not a short trip to be able to get there, right?
2 miles away. Wait, are you trolling me again?
In a sprawling metropolis downtown.
All right, have a good day. It's 200 feet away, Mike. I can't. Was that me and your mom last night? Oh, that's recording of me and your mom last night.
some more.
Hey, what's up?
Hi, how are you?
Wait, I can't hear you. One sec. Can you say something?
Hello.
What the heck? Wait, one sec. Let me put on some earbuds. I was able to hear you until it was my turn to talk. I don't know why I can't hear you. Just put in some earbuds.
All right, just come back then. If you die, where do you think you're going? The ground. I think he was trolling, guys. He was trolling. He wasn't serious. Either he's trolling or just completely delusional.
I can't walk 1 mile. That's impossible, Mike. It takes me 45 minutes to walk a mile.
Okay. Yeah, I gotta figure this out because whenever I join, I can't hear you. I'm just gonna disconnect and come back.
Can you hear me now? That's weird. Can you guys hear me? In the comment, can you guys hear me now?
All right, how's it going?
Yeah.
Hello?
Yep, what do you got?
What the fuck? I can't hear you.
All right,
I can't hear you, but that statement above your head.
Let me try this, guys. Let me close and come back. Okay. Now it should be better.
Hello?
Hi, can you hear me?
Can hear you. How are you doing?
Great. That sounds like a beautiful background. What do you got?
I'm outside. So I just want to go back to your analogy of the volcano. When you said, why doesn't God make the volcano disappear? Is that what you were saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, so why should it be down to God to make the volcano disappear? Why do the people move there?
Well, why did God make a volcano in the first place? He could have just made land for everybody. Why did he have to make the volcano?
You say that through evolution, the Earth came about, so therefore the volcanoes came about through the same system. If God exists and you're blaming it on God, why don't the people move away from there? Why do you have to put God in a negative light?
This applies to just a few situations. First of all, there are reasons why people are driven to living certain areas. Okay, for economic
Yeah,
reasons.
but God gives them a brain.
It's not easy.
God gives
It's
them a
not.
brain. They can move away.
Hold on. It's not as easy as simply saying, "Well, they could just move." No, people
Why
are
not?
driven to certain areas because of many reasons. But furthermore, this only applies to certain situations. I mean, how about cancer? How about diseases? How about all these mutations that we don't control at all? And how do you explain that? Why is there so much unnecessary suffering?
Also, you talk about space and everything coming about through evolution, the law of evolution. We just happen to share DNA with these animals that you mentioned. There's actually no evidence for humans being related to apes other than the DNA that we share.
We are
We have
apes.
95% of our DNA
taxonomically.
is the same as pig DNA.
No, we are taxonomically apes. We are apes right now.
No, we're not. Show me the evidence.
We have ape fur. We have ape eyes.
Show me the
ape
evidence in
organs,
evolution that says that.
We have ape bone structure. How do you
show me the evidence?
We have ape tailbones.
Where's the evidence? We have
Our
opposing
bones,
thumbs.
our bones,
Do
our
apes have
bodies,
opposing
our
thumbs?
bodies. We have bones that are tailbones, like other apes have, right? We
That's
have.
not evidence.
How is it not evidence that we have
We have
tailbones?
opposing thumbs. The apes
Yes,
don't have
just
opposing
like
thumbs.
other apes. Other apes have that too. Other apes have graspable feet.
There's no actual
Just like
evidence in Darwin's theory. There's no evidence that relates us to apes. There's no
yes,
missing
I
link.
just explained it. Like you can just dismiss the
No,
evidence.
that's
I
your
just showed
belief.
you that we
That's your
are
belief.
attacked. Sir, come on, please listen. All apes have thumbs like we do, and we have ape brains, we have ape eyes, we have ape jaws and facial structures, chests. We have ape chests, genitals, everything. Where are we not apes? We are literally almost identical to chimps, and for that, we are considered apes. Okay. If you don't understand this in 2024, I'm sorry. You have to go do your research.
No, I'm sorry. That in Charles Darwin's Evolution, if you've read his books, there's no evidence to show that we come from apes. That's why they've been looking for the missing link, my
Charles
friend.
Darwin did not know about DNA. Why do Muslims always talk about
DNA
Darwin?
it's not
Darwin's
it's not about.
irrelevant.
I'm not a Muslim, my friend. I'm not a Muslim.
Okay. Why do religious people talk about Darwin? It's irrelevant. What's relevant is the fact of evolution that we can demonstrate in labs and fossil records in our DNA. There's no reason to think that there's an issue with Darwinian evolution just because you don't understand how it
I'm
works.
sorry, but you're the one that came up with Darwin and evolution. It says it in your background, not me.
When I say evolution, I'm not referring to Darwin. I'm referring to the fact of the genetic changes over time.
Who came up with the theory of evolution, my friend?
There is no such thing as a theory of evolution. You talk about natural
Yes, there is.
selection. Natural
Natural,
selection is what
okay, if
Darwin.
there's natural selection. Natural selection dictates the survival of the fittest, right? So why do we still have bacteria?
Because they survived.
But we are stronger than them. We survive.
No, they can
Why is
kill
this
us.
still?
They can kill us easily.
But it's the survival of the fittest, you're saying. We're
Yes,
fitter than
bacteria.
bacteria.
And by the way, our bodies contain lots of bacteria. We actually
If we
thrive with bacteria.
evolved from... Yeah, sorry, go on.
We thrive on bacteria. We feed off of bacteria. Our bodies are mainly made of bacterial cells. But also, that's the point. We coexist with them to certain degrees. And in certain ways, certain parameters, they actually can overpower us and kill us. Bacteria is very, very deadly. That's why
But
they
if it's
survive.
survival of the fittest, bacteria evolved into humans, basically. That's what you're saying.
No.
So
Bacteria.
then we
Are you
should have
talking
left
about,
them
Mike?
behind.
Are you talking about abiogenesis?
No, I'm just answering your question, my friend.
I don't think you understand the question you're asking.
No, you're saying evolve, the survival of the fittest. If we've evolved from single cell amoeba, then single cell amoeba shouldn't be around.
The ancestors that we stem off of are no longer there. They went extinct, but they have since split off, as evolution demonstrates, and have since survived under certain parameters. There's a tree of life, sir. Bacteria exist with all of their life. They have evolved just as we did. All life evolved.
Is there no design behind this, do you not think?
Genitals next to our assholes? I think that's a fucked up design. Allergies, choking to death? I think that's a fucked up design.
Okay, but even genitals are made up of cells. There's no design behind the cells?
Why? Where would cells be designed if they're inherently flawed? They make mistakes. They're errored. They can become cancerous. What kind of design is that?
I'm just asking you a question.
Okay.
There's design. There's design behind everything, even space and planets.
Guys, sir, I offer you to learn more about science. That's all I can help you with. I cannot hold your hand every step of the way and be a little teacher to you, right? I'm not Bill Nye.
Okay,
Your job.
insulting
You
me
have
isn't the way
responsibility
forward,
to
my friend.
learn. You have responsibility to learn. So go research, go learn evolution. You don't understand it. I'm not insulting you. You just don't understand it. I'm not trying to be mean.
Okay. So
That's not
when
something
you
rude.
and also
You just
you
don't understand it.
okay, and you talked about the Quran and falling stars. I don't think you actually understood the actual translation. So I think maybe you should research that as well. When
Okay,
they
great. So
say in the
what's the
Quran there's
translation?
falling stars coming to Earth, I think they meant meteorites that break up and cause flashes in the sky rather than actual
Oh,
stars and suns falling
and
to the
how do
planet.
you know that they made that? How do you know that that's your interpretation is true?
Sorry?
You said, I think that's what they meant. So how do you know that your translation's true?
You can go back to scripture and people that have written books called hadiths that are based upon what the Quran means.
Yeah, and the hadiths and many Islamic scholars actually agree with the Quran where it says that the earth is flat. Did you know that most Islamic scholars were actually flat earthers?
Do you know
Because
how
of the
many
Quran.
Qurans are written? Which Qurans are you mentioning here?
The Quran is a flat earth book, sir. It mentions a firmament, right?
There's not just one Quran, my friend. Just like there's not one scientific textbook that you can quote from.
All right, have a good day. I just... I
Hello.
Hi, Freya. Thank you, Freya, so much for your input. Hey, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you? Um,
How old are
so I
you?
disagree with evolution. I think there's been articles and there's been peer-reviewed sources that actually disprove evolution, and I'm not asserting that like just because of that I believe in a God, but evolution is a theory, or I mean, it's not a theory. It's not a theory,
Sir, can you
but
stop rambling and just start countering evolution? Demonstrate that it's not true.
well, there's gaps in the fossils, number one. Number two, you can't have lipid molecules and proteins in a singular cell create what we know as life. They can't emerge out of two places at once.
Okay,
One's
now,
has to be
now you're
placed.
now you're attacking biogenesis, not evolution. Let's start with the first
Okay,
one.
well, yeah, we can
You
start
said
with
there are gaps.
biogenesis,
Hold,
which
hold
leads
on.
to evolution. Yes.
Hold on. You said that there are gaps in the fossil record.
Yes.
That's exactly what we would expect if we have a fossil record. It is inherently the case that we'll never have all fossils because not every fossil will fossilize in perfect ways. Most fossils are degraded and turned into dust. It's only a select few that actually are preserved, and that's why we have gaps necessarily in the fossil record. But
Yeah,
we don't
which
need the
leads to
entire
the
fossil
fact that
record. But
it's
we don't hold on. We don't need the fossil record to demonstrate evolution. DNA evidence is enough to demonstrate it. We see chromosomal fusions, genetic mutations. We can trace back through sequencing and see that we evolved.
but with genetic mutations, you can't. I don't think genetics work in a way where you gain something. And if we come from apes, we have gained features that are non-ape-like.
Sure, there are. There are several mutations that, in fact, all mutations bring something new to the table with insertions, deletions, mixings. There's all kinds of genetic changes that can occur in our genes, all of which change the species, all of which change the physiology of a given animal or organism. So I don't see what you're trying to get here with. This is not an attack to evolution.
Well, let me. I guess I'd also want to get your thoughts on something else too, and I guess it doesn't really attack evolution, but I guess it can in a way. Honestly, are you familiar with the Kardashev scale?
Yes.
Yes. So if I believe if you get to type, what is it, 4 or something like that, you can realistically, if a civilization in somewhat of time, which I mean, there's a big thing going on that evolution is honestly a repeating cycle as well. You know, we die and then new species are emerged, and then now it's a cycle. But with the Kardashev scale, say, I mean, we don't know how long. We don't know if there's civilizations in the past, how long they've been here. So we don't know what what means of technology they could have had, and we don't know. I mean, and if you
There's
get
no
to,
evidence. There's no evidence of civilizations before us. I'm sorry.
but there's evidence of a possibility.
Okay, sure, but well, actually, no. There's no evidence of possibility. It's just logically possible, sure, but there's no evidence of it being true.
But if it's logically possible, then doesn't that mean that, you know, the terms of logic that apply to the universe, anything is possible through logic, correct?
Congratulations, but that doesn't show us it's true.
Okay, but
A green monkey up my anus is possible, but it's not true.
How would
And
I
you
know
can
that?
check if you want. It's not there. So go ahead and demonstrate evolution is not true. I think that your attacks, your attempted attacks here are actually your ignorance, because you just don't understand it enough to make proper attacks.
Well, I'm basing it off the facts of research that I have handed to me from other sources and credited people who disprove evolution in a way. I mean, evolution is it says it's not a theory, but it is a theory because it's the most agreed upon theory by a group of people who have credentials.
No. Evolution is not a theory. Evolution is a fact. The theory of evolution via natural selection is a model of evolution, and that's natural selection.
Well,
You're
what's the
missing
difference?
3 key words. A model, the theory of natural selection is the mechanism of evolution. Evolution on itself refers to genetic changes, and that's a fact. That's something we observe in our DNA. But the theory of evolution via natural selection is a theory. But of course, it's just a mechanism. Theories are just mechanisms. It's how something happens. It's how the facts happen. So there's no reason to think that it's false. There's tons of evidence for evolution. It's enormous.
Well, then my question to you would be, how would you, because people who would generally argue against these things, I mean, you're thinking out of evidence, but I'm thinking out of logic. So if I'm thinking out of logic, technically what I am saying could be true, because evidence does not always.
Congratulations, sir. And there also could be a green monkey up my butt. Who cares?
There also could be exactly my point. So I'm saying it goes for each party with people who.
Sir, even if there were civilizations before us, it would not debunk evolution.
So tell me this: if a man unalives a man, but nobody sees it and nobody ever hears of it, so does that mean that he does not?
Yeah, we're not doing this. We're not. I'm sorry. Learn more. Look, I'm not trying to be mean. Learn. Just learn. Learn more about the science. Learn more about evolution. That'll help you understand the questions you're asking.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Hi. I just wanted to ask a question about evolution because
How old are you?
I'm 20.
Okay. Yeah, you have a really nice voice. Good.
So one of the things that I didn't understand about evolution is how humans were created, right?
Humans were not created. There is nobody making us in a factory of human factory. No, we don't pop out of a.
So
thing. We are the products of billions of years of evolution. You and me.
how
Carrying the
would
baggage
you
of
say
four-
that humans were
we evolved
from
other previous species.
and how were those other previous species created?
They weren't. Nothing's created. So get that out of your mind. There's nothing created. Again, there's a long chain of speciation occurring throughout the fossil record. Species before us were other apes. Before that, monkey-like animals. Before that, shrew-like animals. Before that, other mammals and reptiles and amphibians and fish and bacteria. I mean, go on and on. But the first beings on the planet were simple protocell organisms. They were single-celled, made of basic RNA, basic things like that. There's no evidence of a god doing anything.
The thing is, evolution is based on science, but science can't create. It can only explore how something is created. So,
What do you
with
mean
black,
by creation?
like it helps understand how things were.
What do you mean by creation?
To me, okay, well, to me, that's how I see it. That science doesn't create.
No, ma'am.
No,
What?
because evolution. Okay,
Ma'am, look,
evolution.
hold on. What do you mean by creation? What is the act of creation?
The world, because
Yeah, you have to be more elaborate. The world, that's a big, that's kind of broad, right? Can you
right,
kind of
it comes with
okay.
things like the Big Bang Theory. For me, with evolution, it doesn't make sense in the type, like in the way that for everything to be, every living thing, it needs to be created. In the sense of you don't just wake up and then there's an animal.
That's what you think. You think one day
So
God went
you
poof, he waved his magic
no,
wand and
but
went poof, let
so
there
you
be
think
people, and we
so you
magically
believe in
popped
the
into
Big
existence.
Bang Theory, right?
Ma'am, the Big Bang is, what do you think the Big Bang is?
That two I don't know, two whatever came together, exploded, and then all of a sudden the world was there.
No, that's not the Big Bang. See? That's the problem. You don't understand the Big Bang. It was not an explosion, it's an expansion, right? Of space and time. Space and time itself is stretching at all points. Nothing ever popped into existence. In fact, that's what you believe. You literally believe, right? Are you Muslim?
No.
Christian?
Mm-hmm.
You literally believe that in 6 days, all of the universe appeared. All the plants and animals appeared in 6 days. It just went, God waved his magic wand and went, "Ooh, ooh, let there be light." And poof, we all magically appeared. That's what you literally fucking believe, right? So, if anything, you believe we popped into existence.
Well, I'll just quickly read something and then I want to get your response on it.
Okay, keep learning. Thank you for being here. Learn, baby, learn. What caused a Big Bang? A quantum fluctuation. Basically, there is a potential energy function in which a false vacuum state was entered and a quantum fluctuation bring that state into an photon field where a photon particles decayed and became the baryonic matter we know today and expanded into the universe we know today. To make it simple. All right, let's bring the next victim in here. Learn, baby, learn.
Hello, what's good?
How old are you?
I am 19.
Okay, and what do you got?
Okay, one, evolution is not true, because if it was true, why is there not something between humans and apes? Why is there not something in between?
Yeah, so humans are apes. We are apes. And
Yes.
there are intermediate species between us and the other apes, and those are Homo habilis. These are other humans. Before us, there were multiple human species before us. Did you know that?
No, there's
And they progressively look more and more like chimps and less like humans the further back you go, right? So there's this progression of apes in our past, and we are the most recent ape called Homo sapien. That's all.
Okay, wrong. But second point, God is imaginary. How so?
There's no evidence of it.
One, if okay, how do you think the universe is so directly so precise that everything is correct to the dot? Say one thing was off, nothing would be here.
What does an imprecise universe look like to you?
Nothing
What if you're saying that everything's precise?
the
What's an imprecise universe look like?
no
You're cutting out, sir.
stars, no not. I'm sorry about the bad connection.
Yeah, I think it seems like you're saying nothing. But I'm sorry, nothing is not a thing. It's nothing, right? I'm asking, you're assuming that there's something like an imprecise universe that we can compare and contrast this one to and say that this is precise. Well, you can't do that. There's nothing about our universe that appears to be objectively precise. But, I mean, we can say that the universe is full of things like cancer and disease and bacterial infections, and the universe will be configured in such a way to yield these things. So did God make the universe so precise for cancer?
No, cancer is something else between what you're saying that God is imaginary.
Okay. I don't think you have the cognitive function ability to be.
What up? Hey, why should I go vegan?
Okay. Please don't eat while you're talking to me. It's just, I don't like it.
Oh, fuck, my bad.
Yeah. So the reason why I'm vegan is because I don't want to harm animals. It's that simple.
Why not?
Because I don't want to harm. I don't want to cause them pain and suffering. Do you like to cause harm to dogs?
Well, you said why should I go vegan? So.
No, you asked me why should I go vegan.
Yeah. So what's your reason for me going vegan? It says in your title.
Do you think that we should harm animals?
Yeah.
So you think we should go up to dogs and just beat them, kick them, knife them? That's all good to you?
Well, what's wrong with that? Where does it say not to do that?
Wow. So you think it's perfectly okay to like knife a dog in the head?
I mean, where'd you get that from? Like, how do you know what's good and bad?
This is what you're saying, right? You're saying that I think it's okay. You think it's okay to harm innocent animals.
Yeah, but how do you know what's good and bad? Like, how do you know that stabbing an animal is bad?
Consequences to our actions. If I punch you in the face, you go, ow, it hurts, and I stop doing that. That's how morality works, right?
Hurting an animal has consequences to us.
What?
How does hurting an animal have any consequences to us?
It has consequences to the animal. That's what ethics
how does that
means.
have consequences to me?
That's what ethics, sir. This is what ethics means. It means you have consideration for your fellow person or other sentient being.
See, you're not making any sense.
Look, this is why I'm asking you. Do you think that we should not harm dogs?
Well, based off what I know, what I've read in the Bible and stuff, which is the only rule book in the world, like, how do you know what's good and wrong?
The Bible, really? You're saying the Bible is your moral source? Are you kidding me? The Bible allows slavery. The Bible allows rape. The Bible commands murder.
No, it doesn't.
Your God is a sicko.
No, it doesn't.
Exodus 21:7, Leviticus 20:13, Leviticus 25:44. All of those support what I just said. Go read your Bible. It's an atrocious moral atrocity.
I do read it. All right, name one. Just like read one out for me.
Exodus 21:7. Where it says a man is allowed to sell his daughter as a sex slave.
All right. Well, wait. Hold on. Which one was that?
Exodus 21:7.
Wait, you're talking about Old Testament?
Yeah. Your God's laws.
You're definitely taking it out of context.
Really? Okay, what's the context in which we can own children as sex slaves?
It doesn't say that, but
Yes, it does. Exodus 21:7 says a man can sell his daughter as a slave for a man to be wed. And if the guy doesn't like the girl, he can sell him away to the father. It's disgusting.
no, that's taken away out of context. But
Okay, what's the
anyway,
context? What's the context?
well, if you read the whole thing, it'll tell you. But anyway,
Okay, what's the context
so
then? What's the context?
I just told you if you read the whole thing. But anyways, that's not even what this is about. I'm talking about where do you get your morals from? If there's no God, where do you get your morals from?
My brain. I don't need a God for morality. I use my fucking brain. I use my logic and my empathy.
So you were born to know what's good and bad?
No, we experience reality, right? And I evaluate the consequences to my actions. If I punch you in the face, it hurts you, and you go, ow, don't do that. I listen to you, and then I follow suit. I never go, what does the book say? What page does it say to don't murder?
That doesn't make
Okay.
that
The
doesn't make
Bible
any
says that we
sense.
can have slaves, Jenny. You hear that, Jenny? We can have slaves.
Without a
Oh, yeah, what page is
morality,
that, Johnny? It's page 19. That's not
bro.
that's not how we get morality.
Without a
We get morality
morality,
from using our minds.
without a morality, we shouldn't care about anything we do.
That's why we have morality. We have brains.
Exactly. All right, bro. All right, good luck.
All right, good luck. Thank you all for following, guys. Please follow me for more lives
Yo.
and subscribe to my YouTube for lots of stuff.
Oh, why should I go vegan?
Yeah. Do you want to harm animals if you don't have to?
Me personally, no.
Then go vegan. There you go.
But like, I don't feel bad when I eat an animal.
That's because you're disconnected to your actions. You don't see the animal suffering or crying or screaming in the gas chamber, right? You don't see that happening, so you think it's okay. But did you know that animals do suffer?
Yeah.
They do die, and they are abused and even raped.
So then, why did you become a vegan, or were you always vegan?
Yeah, I became a vegan about 6 years ago because I saw slaughterhouse footage, and I made the connection between my food choices and the things I cause, and I recognize I cause lots of pain and suffering to animals for no reason. Right? There's no reason to eat meat, so I stopped.
So then, like, what do you recommend, like, if you wanted to become a vegan? Because it can be, like, difficult to transition, right?
Not necessarily. It's like maybe it's like getting a new job, and maybe hard at first, but after a week or two, you're like, yeah, I got this down. It's easy. But the first way to start is to learn about the animals, learn about how we farm, learn about the agriculture system, educate yourself, and learn. That's the best thing you can do.
Okay. Would you have any recommendations for like channels or what, like, sources?
Yeah, I mean, there's Oxford studies that demonstrate, vegans are way better for the environment. That'll drive you. I mean, you can look at the USDA, their stats on factory farming, and there's lots of vegan documentaries, but I don't really watch those. I look at the data, and how the food system works. Yeah, there's plenty of data out there for you to see.
And then we have a second question about the evolution. What was the first species you said that was on this planet?
Well, we don't know what the first species was, but the first living organisms we think were stromatolites. These are kind of like bacteria that thrive in rocks, the rock formations. They produce rock formations. But these are some of the first living things, like bacteria.
But like, how did that come to life necessarily? Like, how did that actually form and then lead to everything that evolved over time?
Yeah, good question. It turns out that those first cells contain the precursors for everything else to follow, because it turns out that these cells could become more complex over time. In something called natural selection, evolution, things become more complex over time. And 4 billion years of changes, incremental changes, yielded the type of life that we have today. It's a tree of life, and it's amazing to understand how many species there were before us.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you for that.
Yeah.
See you.
Yeah. Sorry for the chair, guys. Is that annoying? I'm going to have one more guest up here.
What's up, dude?
Hi,
Hello.
Harry.
Hi. You go by Mike, I imagine.
Yeah.
Well, nice to meet you, Mike. This is the first time I'm actually listening to your live, but obviously I see the topic off of him. And you were talking about sentient beings. Now, I'm not coming from a Christian perspective. I'm just asking you, do you believe that plant life are sentient at all? Mushrooms, plants, like, well, fungal or plant life, I should ask.
No, there is no evidence that mushrooms or anything are sentient. Now, of course, you're probably going to say, oh, well, they send out signals. I understand they send out signals, but so does my phone. And just because something emits signals does not mean it's sentient. Sentience requires a central nervous system, a brain, emotions, processing.
What we know now, but even right now, even with what we understand of the brain, memory is held in all of our cells, not just our brain. Memory is held in all of our organs. Anything that's able to contain water is able to contain memory. And I'm once again, I'm not coming from.
I don't think that's true. I don't think it's true.
I know you might disagree, but we're basing things off of different sciences that you and I focus
So there's
on.
memories in my penis.
Yep. What I'm saying is the muscle memory is a real thing. I'm saying anything that uses cells that stores water holds memory. I know you may not believe that, but what I'm saying is
Sir,
I'm bringing this
I
up.
don't think this is true. I would be
I
highly
understand
skeptical. Look, there's a difference between muscle memory and actual brain memories and emotions. It's vastly different, right?
Yeah,
Just
it is.
because muscle can do certain tasks does not mean that my muscles are sentient. So I think that what you're saying is ridiculous. But furthermore, it's actually relevant because vegans kill less plants. So if you care about sentience, go vegan, because vegans kill way less plants and we kill less animals, and we're way better for the environment by far.
I hear that. As far as I'm saying, I hear that as far as what you believe. In terms of God is imaginary, that's a whole nother subject. As far as like evolution, one of the things I have an issue with when it comes to evolution is the argument of a species actually adapting to a point where it changes into a different species, which is what we understand from evolution, that perhaps apes, like chimpanzees, bonobos, and gorillas eventually evolved into different versions that led to what we are today as Homo sapiens. But the issue that I have is that each one of those is a different species. What I don't see evidence of in terms of what I understand of evolution, and this is something you can disagree on, is any actual proof that any species adapted to a point where it changed into a different species other than itself. You know, maybe an adapted version to its environment. But as far as being
So it's not that first of all, it's not that we come from bonobos. Bonobos are a different lineage than us, a different branch of the tree. of evolution. We share ancestors with, we share common lineage with all modern day apes, but about 6 million years ago. And the evidence of this is in our chromosomes. Chromosome 2 is a perfect example of a chromosomal fusion that occurred that demonstrates our common lineage between us and the other apes. But in terms of direct evidence of speciation, the fossil record is clear, right? We have a Homo habilis and Homo erectus. These are transitional fossils that demonstrate the speciation over time. We also have Richard Lenski's experiment in the 1990s, where he took a species of bacteria and saw its speciation over 60,000 generations. It was a different species at the end of the experiment. Speciation is observed, it's understood, it's in every way. There's no reason to be
Let me
against
write
evolution.
I actually want to look into that. Let me just write that what you just mentioned. What was that one called?
Richard Lenski's E. coli experiment.
Richard Linsky. How you spell the last name? L-I-N?
Linski.
And that was called the what experiment? E. coli?
Oh, E. coli. Yeah.
E. coli.
In magnesium citrate.
Coli experiment. Okay, yeah, I'll definitely take a look at that. Look, I love these conversations because I definitely have my beliefs based off of the time that I've spent studying different subjects, and you have your beliefs based off of subjects that you have studied. And I know we're both inclined to believe that these are facts, but I have lived long enough to know that even the things that I truly believe as fact has totally changed by being able to be presented.
Great. So then the only contention you have here is the evidence, which is good. It's good that you're evidence-based, but the evidence is in my favor. Right? You can go look at the evidence that demonstrates evolution. Just because you have a personal problem with it doesn't make it false.
No, and well, I don't have a personal problem. If anything, I'm obviously just coming from the place where you and
So what's your argument today?
One, well, as far as like first subject, God is imaginary. I wanted to see where you stood as far as why God is imaginary, and then what would constitute as proof of God to you.
So I don't see any evidence of a God. That's why I'm an atheist. But what would prove? I don't know what would prove to me that God exists. I think that I would take any evidence in favor of something like a God. I would take any evidence. I don't know what it would be like, but anything that points to God existing would be evidence to me.
I asked you that because look, if I explain this, I don't know if you're going to take it as evidence, but it is something that has definitely intrigued me enough to like start to believe the idea of a very much intelligent design to the entire universe. But what really got me to that point was just the existence of mathematical equations. And I'm sure you've heard the argument before. I'm sure you've heard that presented in one way or another. But essentially everything that we use to build our technology to this day, even, music theory, for example, is anytime you hear music, it's essentially numbers in formulas that we get to interpret as a species.
And numbers is what our brains produce.
Do you believe numbers were discovered, or did we invent numbers?
To me, it seems like math is something that our brains operate by, just like logic. Logic and mathematics come from the same parts of the brain. In fact, the prefrontal cortex is what generates our sense of logic. And I think it's a purely brain mechanism. It has nothing to do with something outside of our universe. It has to do with our brains and how we see the world. But I'm open to there being evidence of numbers in reality. I just don't see it.
Formulas, for example, that we use, like the Pythagorean theorem. It wasn't discovered by Pythagoras. There's evidence that the Sumerians knew about the Pythagorean theorem themselves because we see examples of it in their architecture. But the reason why I bring that up is because the theory itself is an annotated theory that we are able to observe by the natural, like the natural physical laws that we are able to observe as humans. I bring that up because those laws existed before humans discovered it. And so we just happen to.
What laws?
Oh, like I'm saying, the Pythagorean theorem, a squared plus b squared equals c squared, something like that.
No,
the annotation didn't exist until humans were able to annotate it. What I'm arguing is that.
No, that's not necessarily the case. All we're doing with math is recognizing patterns. That's all. We're just our brains are pattern recognition devices. That's all. That's all we're doing.
And what I'm encouraging you to do is to take value into the patterns that existed before mankind lived, before mankind was ever
What
in
does that
existence.
even mean? What do you mean math before? That isn't. That assumes that math is something real. I'm sorry, but I don't see reason to think that. But also, who cares if there's math?
Well, if we stop at who cares, then there's no.
Just because numbers exist beyond our minds doesn't mean God is real.
What I'm pointing towards is like, I understand the argument that you feel God is not real. I understand God to be real because of these things that we continuously discover that seem to have been in place.
But the reason why this is not good evidence is because whether or not math is something outside of our brains or in our brains, it doesn't point to a God. There's no connection there.
Say it again. Oh, my bad. I didn't hear the last thing.
There's no connection between math and God. That's your own connection. There's no dots to be connected though.
I mean, as far as the Bible goes, there's a lot of mathematical patterns. There's a lot of astrological patterns that fall according to certain dates and time and history and things like that.
So what? And that we can point to ridiculous things in the Bible, like flat Earth or Adam and Eve, Noah's Ark. Those things never happened.
Mankind has been in place. What I'm pointing towards are the patterns that have been in place that has followed throughout mankind and even before mankind. But if you're saying none of that matters, it does matter because it's part of our everyday lives. Like, it all affects us one way or another, like our architecture, the homes that we have over our heads, the technology that we use to be able to even contact each other.
Even if I were to agree with your premise that math is something beyond the mind, I don't see how this gets to God. I just don't see the connection.
The connection is someone had to have actually put those laws in place.
Why? Why?
Because they're logical, they're reasonable. They actually create logic. Like, not everything in creation seems to be in order for us, right? But in order for us to exist, there are many factors that have to be very, very precise in terms of
does God operate by some specific laws?
He has a whole standard of laws of morality that he's presented as far as his
Who designed the laws that God operates under?
So if I explain that, I can take a $1 bet. You won't agree with me, but
I can say problem.
No, I can say that it was revealed and inspired to human beings to realize
what laws dictated that. See, this is the problem with this argument. It just kicks the can down the road, because now you can have an infinite cycle or infinite loop of laws and lawmakers and laws for those lawmakers and laws for those lawmakers. It's just a never-ending cycle of laws. We can just say, hey, the universe is necessary, the laws are necessary, and that's it.
But it's a fascinating conversation, because we're talking about laws, we're talking about systems, and then we're talking about even, how that even plays into how we live today.
God's a system.
Sure, you can say that.
Then who designed God's system, right? The point is, you're not solving anything by saying, "Oh, look, there's math, therefore God." That's not a good reasoning.
The reason why I'm giving you the understanding where I stand from as far as math, right? I stand in the position of what a lot of mathematicians, I believe, would agree with, which is math was not created by mankind, but it was actually discovered. In other words, what I'm saying is, that's not a Christian opinion. I've seen that opinion backed up by mathematicians, that they believe that humans have the experience in this life to be able to see the power of numbers. There's got to be some value in it.
Sure. It doesn't matter whether math is discovered or invented. It doesn't get us closer to a magic man who waved his magic wand and turned his body into bread and walked on water and talked to a snake. There is no that connection.
I do know what you were trying to say, but a few of those things, I don't know if they were from the Bible, but I understand what you were saying. No, what I am giving some type of, I guess you could say, some type of reason.
All right, I'm done with that conversation, guys. I'm done. I gotta go to bed. Thank you for being here, guys. Please subscribe and follow. Subscribe to my YouTube. I have all my debates on my YouTube. You guys can see them. I record them all with the comments. I have science videos. I have abiogenesis, relativity, time. I have all kinds of great science videos. Evolution. Go check it out. Yeah, thank you. You're scared of Q-Top. Oh, I actually debated him too on my YouTube. Go check out my YouTube debate with Q-Top, where he got flabbergasted. Yeah. So plug the book. Yeah, I have a book too. If you guys wanted to get my book, everything's in my bio. Link in my bio. Okay. And remember, guys, that dot, that pale blue dot up there. Everybody you know, everybody you love is on that one dot. You can barely see, right? Earth from space. As much as it's appealing to think that there's a God out there, all we have is this one planet. Right? And that image reinforces this notion that the universe does not necessarily care about us. All we have is each other. And all this vastness and all this mystery, all we have is each other. So be kind, be nice. Don't hate on other people for who they are. Don't be bigoted. Help each other, right? Teach each other. So, and learn. Learning is the key.